everyone. Today we have a pretty exciting episode coming to you in the world of Knights of the Old Republic. Today we're going to be talking with one of the voice actors who's going to be portraying Carth in the Unreal Cinema KOTOR film going on. We talked with Scott back in episode 70 to talk a little bit about the project and how that had, kind of changed or what he was hoping to do going forward with it. And then we had Daniel Hodge on episode 107, to talk a little bit about his portrayal of Malik. But today we are joined by Martijn, who is going to be playing the role of Carth in this adaptation for KOTOR. So Martijn, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you so much for coming on to join us. How are you doing today, Martijn?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We are doing great, and we are loving what we're seeing, from Scott and, the whole team, all you voice actors, everything from the Unreal Cinema KOTOR adaptation. So just a couple of weeks ago, the trailer was released for the first section, and it is going to be called The Spire, and you should be able to watch that on YouTube. Now, that should be available for everyone. So we thought what we would kind of do before we, get into, a little bit more of the background with Martijn and, voice acting and the role of Carth, all that good stuff. We thought what we would do first is we would go ahead and cue this up and watch the trailer, do a little bit of a reaction, talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the trailer, and then we'll, dive more into the episode. So if everyone has their video pulled up, we can do a little countdown, and then if you're listening along at home, if you want to watch along with us to kind of get our feedback, or make sure you check this out on your own on the Unreal Cinema page. But if that sounds good to everyone, let's do a countdown, and we'll get this thing started up here.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Well, if everyone has their video loaded up, it's just a little over a minute here. So let's going to count down 3, 2, 1, punch it, Chewie, and then we will hit play and we will watch along. So 3, 2, 1, punch it, Chewie.
Punch it, Chewie.
All right, we got the Unreal Cinema logo there.
I think this is a great starting shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Darth Brandon. Just kidding, it's Bandon.
That's right.
Oh, Trask, our Lord and Savior.
That's right. We've got Trask there, played by our friend Marcus Mosley.
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Saren.
I really love kind of the atmosphere of this. It looks really good, I think.
It's very dark.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there we have Carth, the orange jacket.
Martijn, go Martijn.
That's right.
He looks a bit like
I love this teaser.
Yeah.
The Spire. Looks epic. And
yeah, look.
Congrats to you and to all the voice actors and people animating behind the scenes. It looks incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm really in love with it. I think, the dark style, the gritty, it's essentially something that you won't see from Disney Star Wars. So
yeah.
I really love that, it gets that feel.
Yeah, it's a different type of story in my mind, and I guess like all of us sometimes see Knights of the Old Republic different, but to me it is kind of a little bit more of a high-stakes story, but it's just kind of like a different era than normal Star Wars, which I think could be cool, and one question I for sure wanted to ask is, what do you think Carth's orange jacket symbolizes?
Oh, okay. That's a good question, actually. I must say, it just feels like Republic soldiers also have orange armor, mostly. So it just kind of feels like he has his own version of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even in his downtime,
Judy
he's
Honor,
still a Republic soldier.
That's his thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to imagine that he wears the orange jacket because it matches the Ebon Hawk later, but
Yeah,
I think
that would be funny.
I think in the comics he gets the jacket for the first time, right?
I believe so, because I think when we first meet him in the comics, he's wearing it's almost like a trench coat kind of thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was wearing the orange jacket underneath it, so I'm like, wow, he's probably really hot. But then I think he ditched the trench coat, and just had his orange jacket. So
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
orange is a good pilot color. So
Well, yeah. So we watched the episode 1 teaser trailer here, which is pretty awesome. We watched the Malik short film. We did a little watch along and recap of that over on our Patreon. But yeah, very excited to see episode 1. Kind of some bits of it coming out here, and definitely excited to have Martin on to speak with us today. So let's get into maybe kind of your background a little bit. Martin, was voice acting something that you had done before, or is this kind of your first foray into it with the Unreal Cinema team, or what's your background with voice acting? How did we get into that?
Well, I've actually have about 12 years of experience in theater, so I do have some background in acting, but I never really got around to voice acting. I did want to, but eventually I saw this project come around, and I was like, I have to audition. So my mic was also very, very overdue. So everyone I would speak with was very pleased with my new purchase, but I had to get a new mic. I had to just get into it, and I did in time before the auditions. And I still used that same mic because I was like, instantly, I got to get the highest I can possibly use right now. Just I went all in, basically. The moment I saw the Unreal Cinema, I was like, yeah, I got it 100% for this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that makes a big difference. But I'm excited that you found this project and you got really excited for it. So was the Unreal Cinema, the KOTOR adaptation, was that something you were following along with, like prior to when Scott put out the casting call for the voices? Were you kind of keeping up on this
before?
Okay.
Before. I think I wasn't the first to join the Discord, but I was one of the first. So I think... Oh, I can actually look this up. I think I joined like 1 year and 4 months ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
No, that would be the start of the server. Okay, so in 6 days would mark 1 year and 2 months. And I found the Discord only after a few months, because the Discord was well hidden back in the day. So I think I joined up around the release of the Trask is Back in my KOTOR adaptation, or the I'm Adapting Star Wars KOTOR in Unreal Engine.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been keeping our eye on it from the beginning, and I remember when the casting call, for the auditions for the voice actors went out, and I remember, kind of that introductory video that Scott put together with all of the cast. I remember how exciting that was, getting to see everyone, and everyone looked so excited to be a part of it, and it's so awesome now that we're finally getting it. We saw the Malik kind of short film back around Christmas time, and then we're getting this first episode out. So what is so you mentioned you got the good microphone for the audition to get in. What was that process like, getting your stuff submitted to Scott, and how did that kind of go?
It was interesting because well, at the time I was already modding for him. So obviously we still followed the regular procedures. But I was already modding for him, so I knew Scott a little more than the other applicants. Unfortunately, he had to stay all professional, so he wouldn't tell me what he was looking for Carth, unfortunately.
Right.
So, but basically, just the normal procedures. You're one of the I think 850 people auditioning.
Oh wow!
And then you get an email back.
Wow.
You made it to the callbacks, and then you're like, awesome. But then you don't know how many people made it to the callback. So you're like, okay, so how many people am I still competing against, and how many people of those are going for Carth? At first, I didn't think many would try it for Carth, but apparently he was very popular, which was surprising because I don't
Very popular.
recall Carth ever being a popular character. Like he was.
I think people like to tease Carth, like, kind of tease about the character, because, like, he just has that iconic smile at the end of Knights of the Old Republic, and people are always like, he doesn't want to talk about it, but sometimes it's like, you don't want to talk about it. Like, I understand.
No. The things he's been through, I don't know if I would want. I would not want to talk about it with a person I just met. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So that's awesome. So you went through kind of the casting process. Now, were you auditioning specifically for Carth, or were there other characters you were maybe interested in playing, or was Carth one? Carth was the one that Martin was going to go for.
A bit of both, because I just wanted any part in the show. So I would have been happy with anything, even like a minor character. But in the end, I decided to audition for specifically Carth and Evren, if I am correct. Maybe I did one more. But I did try and record myself some HK lines, some Candace lines, even Jolie one line. But I decided, that's not. There's no way that this would ever, would work. So I decided to go for Evren, for Carth, and I just put all my effort into those two, and then a little bit more into Carth.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. And yeah, I mean, just kind of the little snippet we've heard here in this trailer, I think you're definitely nailing it, and kind of the look and the feel and the sound of Carth. It really, that's kind of what I have in my mind when I think of kind of a more quote unquote live action representation of that character. So that's really cool. Now you mentioned that. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Now you mentioned you were following along with this project from the start, which leads me to believe, and I could be way off base here, but it leads me to believe that you were a fan of Knights of the Old Republic. Coming into it.
You could say that again.
Well, awesome. So, Martin, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the game, Knights of the Old Republic, and into the world, and started getting into that stuff.
Well, KOTOR, it's basically the very first game I ever played.
Okay.
So the story it's quite funny, actually. At the library in our town, or city, it's a bit in between, but back in the old day, you used to have those library games that you could borrow. And at the time, that would be a huge thing. You would have 4 or 5 discs and just go through the entire installation process.
Right.
So that was actually my first playthrough on a borrowed thing from the library. At the time, I think I was 5 or 6. My English was very poor, so I had to get my dad for several occasions to get me through the game, which was even worse for KOTOR 2, because I can still remember.
So much
I can
dialogue.
the part in the or maybe that was. Now I'm confused. No, that was Duxun. I think KOTOR 1. Yeah. Now I know. When you open the star map on no, not Duxun. No. What's it called? The Wookiee planet. The Wookiee planet.
Korriban?
Yeah.
Kashyyyk.
So you have all those special questions where you have to be evil.
Yeah, to get into it. Yeah.
So, to get into it, I was that took me hours. Like, I could not get past that, even with my father, because he obviously didn't have the context, so he was just guessing at some point. And eventually we would get through, but every playthrough, it was just guesswork. We just had to guess through it. At least the first few.
Yeah, no, that's fair, because I have to guess my way through that section too. Even just on my most recent playthroughs. So I couldn't imagine, as a non-native English speaker being able to get through that. And at 5 years old going through this game, that's amazing, Martin.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. It was so bad. Eventually, I was like a few years older, and I was hanging out with a British guy. So at that point, I could actually speak English properly. Semi-properly. And at the time I didn't have any money because I was a kid. So I only played free games. So I played Roblox, stuff like that. But that was the only game at the time that I had ever purchased. That was the only paid game that I had. Even looking back at a few recordings I made back in the day, that was the very first game on my desktop. Just left top right there, just... It's a very for me it's my favorite game ever, and probably the most. I think it's basically shaped the way that I like to play games, because I'm a big RPG fan, and anything similar to KOTOR I love.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cassia, do you remember the first video game that you ever played?
So I don't know if we're counting like Game Boy, or because I do remember. I think the first video game I had was the Pokemon Yellow, where it's kind of like the red, green, and blue, but it's yellow and you have Pikachu, and Pokemon was fun, but learning that like Pikachu will never work against like a boulder type, when you for your first gym. So I kind of just was like really kind of just in Boulder City. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't win. And then I was like, oh, I have to win with Butterfree, and just kind of I trained my Pokemon like so long, and then like when it was like basically a one-hit kill, and I was like, yeah. And for a while I was kind of overpowered, but I didn't understand like so much about video games. I accidentally sold the Master Ball.
Oh,
that's relatable.
And then I saved it right after, because I'm like, well, I can't undo that. And it's like I could have just turned it off and not saved it. But alas, you get $0.
A friend of mine caught a Pidgey with it, so
Yeah, see, now I so my like introduction to video games was the same as you, Martin. We would take video games out from the library, but my games were like Nintendo games. So like I don't know, like Super Mario 2 was what I was renting, and Martin's over there, doing the D20 combat and changing up armor and doing all this crazy stuff. So I feel like Martin was way advanced on the video games from
I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm definitely glad that you stuck with it then, and it must have left an impression on you.
Oh, yeah.
Was Star Wars something you were interested in too, or was it like just this game? You just stumbled onto this game from the library and fell in love with it?
I think mainly this game. Unfortunately, my family isn't too big on Star Wars, so I never really, at that age, got around to watching the original trilogy. But when the prequels came out, I was one of the first people in the cinemas, I'm pretty sure. And I think Revenge of the Sith is still my favorite Star Wars movie to date.
Such a good one. I skipped school, by which I mean I was checked out a few minutes early from school.
I'll allow it.
Before the bell rang for the end of the day, and I saw that like opening day, and just so much hype, and like I just love Revenge of the Sith. It's like the perfect Star Wars story for my tastes, I think.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Emotionally, it hits properly.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good one, and it's a good introduction, I think, for you to get into Star Wars. So that's really cool too. Let's talk a little bit more about the voice acting aspect. So you are you're portraying Carth Onasi in the Unreal Cinema adaptation, and you mentioned that you felt really kind of strongly about the character. Was Carth one of your favorite characters when you were playing the game, or did you have other favorite characters? Or
nah, just Carth basically. Number one would be Carth, and then number two would be Bastila, and then the rest kind of they were there, but I enjoyed all of the characters, but easily top two Bastila, and then at the top Carth easily.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool that Carth is your favorite, because sometimes I think Carth gets a bad rap, but I always liked Carth and Bastila. I think I always kind of like the main trio. It's hard because Revan has kind of a nebulous character sometimes, but what I imagine Revan to be, kind of like bits of Han Solo, bits of Luke, bits of Count Dooku, bits of its own character. Kind of like Alexander the Great, I guess, in my view. Yeah. But Carth and Bastila are just the main trio of KOTOR. Those are kind of my favorite characters. So
same for me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Carth has kind of a tragic story, so it, like you said, it's easy to kind of poke fun at him, because he doesn't want to talk about it, and he has kind of that little meme smile kind of thing, at the end of the game that people will poke fun at. But I think that his story is really interesting. So I wanted to ask you, Martin. You said that he was your favorite character. Did you learn things about Carth kind of going through this process of voicing the character, or now that you're older, can you appreciate parts of his story more than you did, when you were first starting to get into KOTOR? Or?
I always liked Carth, and before the auditions, I think a year before I found Unreal Cinema, I had recently done another playthrough, so I was aware of his tragic backstory. Mm-hmm. So for the auditioning process, I actually listened to basically all of his lines several times to get just his voice in my head, and to really get into his thoughts. And I also wrote a character summary, stuff like that. So I think I'm able to get into the character more, but my view of him hasn't changed dramatically.
Okay, that's interesting. That's really cool. Is that kind of a similar process? You'd mentioned that you do some stage acting and things. Is that similar to what you do for other roles, or is this unique to kind of doing this voice role for Carth? Or
I think definitely unique, because unique to the extent that I've done, because at one point I was playing Troy from High School Musical, and I hadn't seen High School Musical, so I had to get up and actually watch High School Musical, because I'm playing Troy. I can't not watch it. So I did watch that, but for Carth I listened to all of his lines I think 7 times, 5 to 7 times. So that's
Wow.
I think I listened to 12 plus hours of just Carth dialogue. So to that extent, no, I don't do that for stage plays. But I do, of course, prep myself and prepare myself, read into the character, look at stuff that I haven't seen. I just went kind of overboard for this, because I was, my favorite character of my favorite game ever gets in a series, and I get to audition for it. I mean, yeah, I know. I still can't believe it. We are almost it's been exactly a year, I think, a few days ago, and it's insane. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that worked out for you. One question I had is, what similarities are there between Troy and Carth?
Oh.
This is gonna be a High School Musical podcast now for the rest of the rest of the show, I think.
I can't complain too much. I did sing some car karaoke with Marcus actually, and a mod from the server. She didn't partake, but she was there. Some car karaoke from Bet on It and Scream, while I was there. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Okay, but the similarities from Carth and Troy. And then this goes to show that I didn't nearly do enough research on Troy. I mean, there's obviously plenty of similarities, but I'm trying to find some good ones.
Yeah. Now, Cassia, that's you put Martin on the spot with that question. So I feel like you should probably have to answer that. What are your parallels of Troy and Carth?
I think that they're both kind of good team leaders, because Troy is always we're all in this together. Orange isn't quite Troy's color, but basketballs are orange, and Carth has an orange jacket. And
that is a link, yeah.
Yeah, and whereas Troy is really good at sports, I guess Carth is he's a physically fit soldier, very good at flying, and sometimes Troy goes through hard things and he doesn't want to talk about it, so he sings about it, and maybe that's just what Carth needed, is to sing about it.
Oh, actually, for my audition, I did submit one additional file of Carth singing that he doesn't want to talk about it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's amazing. And I hopefully that will turn up in the Unreal adaptation. I would definitely like to see a musical number.
Who knows?
That would be
Who
great.
Knows?
Yeah.
That's right. Scott is pretty tight-lipped on this stuff, so we can't get into spoilers too much. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see if there's any musical numbers. So, but that's pretty great. That's pretty great.
I think the leadership parallel is probably the most accurate. Although I thought of it as well, but then I was like, well, Averin kind of takes the lead because he's the main character, but
does he?
Yeah, I mean, nah. Carth is the man. Pretty sure.
That's right.
I'm sure Levi would disagree, but
yeah, I kind of see Bastila. I mean, they're not literally team mom, team dad, but kind of I think Bastila is maybe the mom of the group, and then Carth is kind of the dad of the group, and then I think Averin kind of earns his stripes to be the main character, but at first he's kind of just doing what everyone tells him to.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Carth feels like the dad of the group a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he literally is a dad, so.
No, that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on how you unravel the story, of course.
Yeah.
If he still is, but.
Yeah, but I mean that's something we covered in our adaptation that is not going to happen. It was just kind of a pitch, that will not, nor ever has not happened. But it's Carth kind of needs to learn to trust again after it's revealed that Bastila lied about Revan, and then that Revan is, literally Revan. And I think Carth struggles with giving people second chances, but in our views, Dust still teaches Carth how to give second chances to Bastila and to Revan.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the neat things about the RPG elements is that you can, you're changing your party, so you can kind of create whatever sort
you
of
can choose
paradigm of leadership you want to have. But yeah, Carth definitely takes that role, I think. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to ask you, thinking back on our conversation with Daniel Hodge, who's playing Malik in the adaptation, and Candaris as well. He mentioned that it was exciting for him, because obviously, I would guess that, most everyone who's, working on the voice team and, doing the art and stuff were already big fans of Knights of the Old Republic. So one of the exciting things for him was just kind of, finding this group of people that were as into Knights of the Old Republic as he was. And then you could talk about the game and different aspects of the game, in ways that people didn't understand. And you could learn things about the game from seeing other people's perspectives, and that's definitely something I think that we've found here on the podcast too. So Martin, I wanted to ask, just being part of like the Unreal Cinema like family, so to speak, has that been like educational in any way to Knights of the Old Republic? Has it changed kind of the way you look at the game, or is it interesting to see other people's kind of takes on the different characters and things?
Yeah, very. I think well, it's been ego to say that, but I think I have basically I have a really good grasp on Carth, but it's awesome to see how all of the voice actors have such amazing grasps on the character they're portraying. Like, I've played the game, I think I've played it so many times I can play it in my head. At least 14 times, I would say, at the very least. And yet they still have such a better grasp of the character, even though I've played through it all these times, than I could possibly have. And that just goes to show how, what's the word? How excited and passionate everyone is for the project, for the character, for the game. Everyone has gone completely beyond anything to just get everything just right. And I think that is amazing to see.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think that's one of the reasons why Knights of the Old Republic is so loved by people that love it, because you can really sort of identify lots of things. You were drawn to the character of Carth, and for someone else it might have been a different character, and you can really kind of just look at that character or that scenario or that location and take so much out of it, personally for yourself, and that could be something completely different from someone else. So I think it's awesome when you get kind of a group of people who like to think about the story on kind of this kind of insane level like we do, and get together and kind of go through like the thinking process on all this stuff, is really, really cool. And one of the things that is awesome about Knights of the Old Republic, the reason that we all love it is because of the characters. We all have our favorite characters. Mine is Jolie. Yours is Carth. Why don't you, Martin, could you tell us a little bit, like kind of a summary of Carth, like what you see, like his story in the game in Knights of the Old Republic? Don't want to, not going to get into like spoilers for the Unreal Cinema stuff, but just when you're playing the game, what is kind of like the overarching like theme of his story? If you kind of understand what I'm...
Yeah, I get you. I think I thought about this too. Obviously his background is very, very sad, very dark, because he has a very sad background, and he's just been betrayed by everyone that he's ever trusted. So he cannot get himself to trust anyone else. But he still holds on to his ideals. Like, for example, in the Spire, he refuses to go before everyone he knows he can save is safe. He sticks to his duty, his honor, his ideals, even after everything he's been through. And the path and the journey that he has in KOTOR is not a path of redemption, but a path of finding himself again, to be able to trust other people, to put his faith in, well, in this case, in Avron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a beautiful summary, and I think you really understand the character of Carth, and I'm glad to hear like you're so passionate about KOTOR and Carth. So I think like this role is in the best hands possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of before we start wrapping up, Martin, has, portraying Carth in the Unreal Cinema adaptation, has that, kind of inspired you to seek out like other voice acting work, or is this it for now, or what do you have on the radar? Anything else we're going to be hearing your voice in, or?
I wish. Unfortunately, I've got a lot on my plate. So unfortunately, right now, I want to. So if something reaches me, then I would try. But there's a lot on my plate, and I don't think I would. It would be difficult to share my attention between that project and this project. So I would prefer to just, for now at least, give my all for this project. Mm-hmm. And if I do find the time, then I would pursue other voice acting options.
Yeah, no, definitely understand that, and definitely it's good to kind of focus that attention. So that's good to hear. And then as far as like kind of the logistics of it, obviously we're all scattered all around the globe, kind of this Cassie and myself here on the podcast, obviously, but then the whole team from Unreal Cinema, you're coming at us from everywhere, all around the planet. So how has that been, kind of working and coordinating? Is Scott just calling you up on like a Zoom call or whatever and saying, hey, we need to do this, and then you do it and kind of submit it? Or are you trying to get together as more of like a team kind of a thing? Or what's the process of getting this thing recorded and out into the world like?
We try to go at it as a team. Sometimes something comes in between and you have to like add one line or something. Obviously that won't be in the team setting, but usually for recording, we'll just plan a meeting. So we'll, our AD will handle the scheduling, and then we just get together and we record the lines as best we can. Unfortunately, because we have people in Australia, I'm in the Netherlands, and then a lot of people in America, that means not everyone can be happy all the time. So unfortunately, I have had to record some lines like in the middle of the night, but usually it doesn't get terrible.
Yeah.
I'm quite a night owl myself, so it's fine.
I mean,
usually.
Carth probably has a rugged, tired quality to him sometimes, and that kind of fits the
I think it would fit. Maybe also he can't sleep either after all the stuff he's seen, so it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to go over, Cassia? Or?
Well, I was just going to say, Carth sometimes says, I don't want to talk about it, and here we recorded a whole podcast episode, so...
Oh, grief. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I fell so far out of character. I'm so sorry.
No, it makes for a good podcast, and I think, like, the at the end of Knights of the Old Republic, the game, what Carth learns is, like, he needs to talk about things more, and it's, like, kind of his therapy. Like, he opens up to people more, so...
yeah.
In a way, you're kind of honoring, like, Carth's trajectory and arc, I think, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you guys do want, I would totally be down to, record another session where I just continue saying, I don't want to talk about it. It would be pretty short too, I think. So, we can just do that. No problem.
I could do mine. It's like...
Yeah, let's hear yours, Cassia. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, it was like, I think like Oscar caliber stuff right there.
I like it. Yeah. That is really good. That's really good. But we'll keep the Carth lines to the professionals going forward. I think. But I think that it's awesome that you came on and wanted to talk with us about this character, about this project. I think that is super fun. So anyone out there listening, make sure that you go and you watch this episode 1 trailer for The Spire, which I think is going to be the official name of the first episode here. So go watch that. You can see Carth there in all of his glory. He's got like some stubble going on. Things are a bit hairy going on. The trailer is a lot of fun. So make sure you check that out. Oh, that was a stubble and a hairy. Yeah, that's right. So so make sure you go check that out. And then of course you can go to Unreal Cinema. They have a really great and active and supportive Discord channel, which is where we got hooked up with talking to you, Martin, on there. So I think you can also, if you go to the Unreal Cinema YouTube page, they have a link to the Discord, so you can go there and kind of chat about KOTOR and see what's coming up and how the project is coming along, all that good stuff. So definitely go and check that out.
Yeah, and thanks again for coming on, and
Thank you so much for having me.
should we say may the force be with you, or should we say I don't want to talk about it?
Ooh, that's a difficult question.
That is a difficult question. We'll just wrap up with May the Force be with you this week, and then we'll have to stay tuned to the Unreal Cinema adaptation and see if Carth mutters that famous line from Knights of the Old Republic.
All right. May the force be with us all.